Alright, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and today I'm here to talk about why Bill Belichick was the worst GM in the NFL since 2018. But before we get into it, leave a like if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're not already. Let's dive right into this. So, I'm not going to say that Bill Belichick has been unsuccessful throughout his tenure as a GM of the New England Patriots, but the NFL, it is a what have you done for me lately league. And Bill Belichick, he has an incredible track record. I'm pretty sure any executive or coach in the NFL would kill to have what he has on his resume. But at the end of the day, the league changed and Bill Belichick did not. And I will always say this. So in 2022, I put on this channel that I wasn't expecting the Patriots to be very good anymore just because I had not believed in the roster they built. I thought it was incredibly mid. I thought it was incredibly uninspiring. And in that video, I said that the Patriots had the third worst roster in the AFC. And it looks like I may have overestimated Bill Belichick's ability to build a team, which is really saying something, especially because of how harsh I was on him. And even going forward, when I think back on 2024, it doesn't matter if I'm 10 years older, if, let's say, okay, so I'm 23 now. If in 30 years I'm 63 years old and people ask me why Bill Belichick was fired, I'm still going to say this to this day. Bill Belichick, the GM, got Bill Belichick, the coach, fired. Bill Belichick's ability to build a team did not just stop in 2018, it completely vanished. It went out the window. The only thing he was good for towards the end of his tenure was coaching a defense. That's it. And New England's defense under Bill Belichick had always outperformed the resources that were put into it. They'd always outperformed the draft capital that was sunk into it. They'd always outperformed, you know, uh, the money that was put into it, particularly in the secondary. How many times during the Belichick era did a guy shine, then leave for a big contract, and then suck elsewhere? You know, you have guys like J.C. Jackson, Malcolm Butler, just to name a few. And the real thing that the Patriots needed to do in this post-Brady era for the New England Patriots was they needed to invest in offense. And they did, but they did it in incredibly stupid ways. And once Brady left, there was no more bailing you out. And even in 2019, honestly, that team's offense let it down a lot towards the end of the year. They got by playing a really easy schedule, historically easy, in the first half of the year, and they didn't really have a lot to face uh, in the first half of the year. And then when they faced real teams, they looked mediocre at best, and the Titans came in and shut the door on Brady's time in New England. So what had happened after that? 2020 happens, and Brady wins the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shout out to him for being the Chiefs. That's one of the only times the Chiefs have played a Super Bowl over the past 5 years, and I've actually been happy with the outcome. But yeah, so what had happened after 2020? Well, after that year with Cam Newton and everyone, after that year where New England kind of, they had to experience something that they were not used to. They were not used to losing. Bill Belichick, what it screamed that offseason was him trying to shake the labels of being nothing with Brady. It absolutely reeked of desperation. They had to overspend on bad players in free agency to come to a terrible roster. And I call this the Jaguars tax because the Jaguars have spent a lot of money in free agency because they've been pretty terrible over the past decade or so, and they've spent close to $1 billion in free agency. So when you have to sway players and pay them more in free agency than their actual worth, you have to pay the Jaguars tax. And usually no good skill position player ends up hitting free agency. Pretty much all the good ones either get extended, or if they don't get extended by the team that drafted them, they get tagged and traded. And I think that's what's going to happen to T. Higgins. I can't remember the last time a real wide receiver actually tested the open market. I mean, I don't know. There's probably some, but they're slipping my mind right now. Maybe Allen Robinson 3 years ago, but then he became washed as soon as he signed with the Rams, so I don't know. But the Patriots in 2022 were number one in cap space allocation to skill position weapons, and it was absolutely laughable what they were dealing with, despite being the number one highly invested cap space unit in the league with Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, N'Keal Harry, Juju Smith-Schuster. I actually think Harry was cut before them. But the overarching point, Bill Belichick had no idea how to develop or build offensive skill position talent. And another stat is that no player from in the first 3 rounds from New England's 2013 to 2020 drafts had seen a second contract with New England until Barmore, and that's absolutely laughable. And Barmore actually wasn't even drafted until 2021, so this is insane. And they didn't not draft guys. Like, they did draft guys like Tooney, they did draft Onwenu, they did hit on some guys, and they've hit on Mondre over the past 2 years, but still, I don't know. I just didn't really like what they had built. They made a lot of really bizarre picks, and the main thing I can point to during the draft is they were obsessed with trading back. Bill Belichick's philosophy was you could always get by with 4 or 5, great players, and the rest can be, B players, B plus players, whatever. As long as those 4 or 5, elite players were amongst the best in the league, you could get by. And sure, that worked. That worked at a certain point. That worked when the cap space was low and parity amongst the league was also lower, and you had Tom Brady. Now it doesn't work. Now it doesn't work because teams have more money to be able to keep their guys. They have more cap space resources. They have more, I don't know, they just have more means of keeping their guys than ever. Therefore, strong cores of teams, they stay together. And while that was good for the New England Patriots, while that worked for a while, Bill Belichick did not adapt to what he needed to in the modern NFL. Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel, N'Keal Harry, and you name it, Cole Strange, Mac Jones, just a lot of picks that really, really didn't pan out. This team's track record drafting has been really poor. I will say they've always been, drafting late. So, of course, that does put some strain onto what Bill Belichick is able to do. And I know they had a lot of turnover within the scouting department after or around the time Brady left. I don't know if it was directly before or after. So that probably didn't help as well. But at the same time, Bill Belichick has to be the GM. This is part of his job. Like, half of his job was constructing a competitive roster, and he just did not do that. A big reason why he completely failed to put results on the offensive field was because he did not have any ability to build an offensive staff. Sure, you tried solutions at QB, you tried Cam Newton, you tried Mac Jones, you tried Bailey Zappi, and none of them were the answer. None of them were even close to it. But your coaching staff picks for what you were trying to build on offense, terrible, absolutely embarrassing. What did you see in Joe Judge after being, the head coach of the new Browns of the NFL? The Giants are the new Browns of the NFL. And what about his 7 and, 30 record over a 2-year span or 3-year span? I can't remember. But what about that was exciting to you? What about Matt Patricia and him, completely ruining the Lions culture and being built back up by Dan Campbell? What about that was exciting to you if you were Bill Belichick? What do you see in this guy? What do you see in this guy that completely lost you the Super Bowl against the Eagles? And Bill O'Brien. Now, I don't really know. Everything around the Patriots was just so chaotic, and there was so much turmoil surrounding this team when it was Bill O'Brien's time to take over the offensive coordinator role. But I don't know. Part of being a good GM is knowing where your strengths are and how to improve. And the problem is they have tried. They have invested a lot into the offense, just in really, really stupid ways. Why draft Sony Michel? Now, this one gets a pass because he was very good during the Super Bowl run in 2019, but you picked the wrong Georgia running back for sustainability and sustaining a good offense. Why would you pay franchise tag money for Joe Tooney in 2020? Oh, wait, he went elsewhere. He went to the Chiefs. Why pay Nelson Aguilar anything? Why sign 2 mid-tight ends? Why sign Jonnu Smith? Why sign Hunter Henry? When you signed Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar, not even a few days later, I'm pretty sure they all signed on the same day to be your field stretchers and to be your offensive skill position weapons for what was an impending rookie quarterback at the time. Why pick up Antonio Brown in the middle of 2019 when your team was looking white hot and this guy had, allegations from everywhere coming at him? I remember in 2019, it was my first semester of college and I ended up dropping out, but I ended up dropping out 3 months later. But when I was thinking back to that Antonio Brown time, everyone was like, wow, he's such a genius. I'm like, guys, I'm not so sure about this thing. I keep waking up and there's a notification every day that Antonio Brown's being charged with something, or he's just doing something weird. And people really thought he was playing 5D chess. Nah, it turns out he's just an idiot. What else? Why exercise Isaiah Wynn's 5th-year option? Why pay Juju the same amount of money you paid Jacoby Myers? And I didn't hate the idea of the N'Keal Harry pick at the time because analytically he is a pretty pristine prospect, but this is why you kind of have to judge the film and why I've become more open to film over the past few years to evaluate wide receivers rather than just being analytic approach, which is what I relied on. But N'Keal Harry over Debo, over DK Metcalf, over AJ Brown, it looks tough. Now, nothing is certain. We're just playing probabilities with the draft, so that's kind of tough there. But Cole Strange, oh my God, you got absolutely fleeced by the Chiefs, who traded up for Trent McDuffie, and I feel like the Chiefs should give a portion of their Super Bowl winnings to the Patriots for that freebie. What else? Tyquan Thornton. Yeah, what about that one? Tyquan Thornton, who, I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to make the Patriots 53-man roster in 2024. Yeah, I don't know why I hesitated when I asked. I meant to ask myself 3 months out, so it's 3 months out, yeah. I don't know, that was kind of, my brain kind of got tongue-tied, oh well. Yeah, overall, I'm just ranting at this point, but Bill Belichick, the GM, made things very, very hard on Bill Belichick, the coach. And he was the worst GM in the league over the past few years, so this is why he got fired. And ultimately, he still will be remembered as one of the best ever to step into an NFL building. That is not a question in my mind. But when people ask me in multiple decades down the road, why did Bill Belichick get fired? I will point to everything I just mentioned. I will point to his inability to build an offensive staff. I will point to his inability to develop a quarterback who seemingly looked like he was on the up and up, and then he wasn't. I will point to bizarre skill position evaluations. I will point to bizarre draft strategies. And yeah, so that does it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.